What is up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome back to another episode of TV Talk. This week, we are reviewing Season 1 of Invincible. Here with me to discuss this new Amazon Prime show, Luke and Tyler.
What up?
What's up, everybody?
Um,
I'm hyped to talk about this.
I know. So Tyler here's our resident Invincible scholar.
I guess we would say newly endorsed scholar.
Sure. This is based on a comic from it wasn't that long ago.
The run ended, I think, in 2006 or 4.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little bit
so
later.
It is a little older than I thought.
Yeah, it's been around quite a while.
Okay, cool. And the first season is a very much a first season of a TV show. I'm not sure how it compares to the comics. Tyler, I think you had mentioned that things are paced a little differently, but that makes sense when you're, kind of jamming a bunch of story into 7 episodes. But
Yeah.
What did we think overall? Spoiler free of the season, real quick before we hop into spoiler thoughts. But what are our spoiler free impressions of season 1 of Invincible?
It's amazing. I don't think I need to say a whole lot more than that. It's incredible. It's brutal. It's heartfelt. It hits all the chords for me. I think this is arguably, if not my favorite TV show.
Ooh. Strong words. I like it. Luke?
I thought about it a lot today, and I feel comfortable saying that.
That's fair. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's definitely not my favorite TV show, but I do really, really enjoy it. It's incredibly well done. It's got a great voice cast. I think they use their animation style wisely. And then with the gore, it just hits really hard when people are just exploding in front of you. And it's very uneasy.
I find that for me, I find that this strikes a nice balance between something like what The Boys tries to do with its gore, because while this is animated, it's still super impactful, and I think it almost does more. It has more mileage emotionally because of it. It doesn't just do it half-heartedly. There's stakes and there's reasons and there's emotion. And sometimes I think a show like The Boys just does it because it wants to do it.
Yeah, I think the difference there too is Mark is a lot more likable than the rest than The Boys.
Yep.
Right? Like you like them, but you also recognize that what they're doing is not necessarily the greatest thing in the world.
That group of people are sometimes pretty awful. Sure.
Yeah.
And there are certainly characters in this show that have some conflicting motivations, and are they good, are they bad? We don't know, playing in the shadows. But I think overall, I do really like most of the characters and what they do. Luke mentioned cast great. There's maybe one storyline that I wish. I think maybe nitpicking could have been better. There's one that just kind of drops off about halfway through the season, and I'm guessing it's gonna come back, but it didn't really feel it went anywhere. But the main story, which is the Mark and Nolan story, really, really well done. Really good chemistry between J.K. Simmons, Stephen Ewan. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like this as well. It's definitely one of my more favorite. My more favorite? Yes.
More favorite.
My more favoritisted comic adaptations into TV. So
Yep.
highly recommend it if you can handle the graphic nature of it.
Yeah, I didn't know how much more graphic it would be after the first episode, where it kind of catches you off guard, honestly.
Yeah.
That might have been like a pretty tame section compared to what happens in other episodes.
Yeah, that
But yeah,
final episode
it's
for sure goes.
yeah, it's really good. I looked it up actually because I thought the comic ended a lot more recently, and the last issue was in 2018.
Oh, okay. 2018.
Okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, it ran for 15 years, 144 issues.
Yeah. And I will soon have them all.
Any other kind of general notes about what we liked or nitpicks that you didn't like? I know when we're singing praises all the time, it's easy to just keep doing that, and sometimes it's fun to just to kind of be like, that storyline with
Amber, yeah, that whole thing. We can drop that at any time.
I don't mind the Amber story because I feel like it can go somewhere and
Oh,
develop
yeah.
characters. But the story for me was the robot thing. I was expecting that to go a different way, and then it was just kind of like, oh, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is super weird.
I think the whole Guardians of the Globe subplot is probably one of the weaker main subplots. Mostly because they just don't, like Luke said, the robot thing I thought was kind of weird. The why can't I think of his name? Jason Mantzoukas. Rexplode. Very unique character. He just has such a unique voice.
Yeah, he stands out for sure.
Yeah. But then there were others. There was I really liked Seth Rogen and Alan the alien, and the couple times he shows up. Like those are like those little moments. Mark Hamill as Art, the suit maker. They all have some really good emotional moments with the characters that I think sprinkled throughout really did help the pacing and not feel like this was such a father-son drama, even though it really is. So, we want to jump into some spoilers?
Should we give our ratings before spoilers?
Let's do it.
Ooh, yeah.
It's fanboy worthy for me.
Yeah, I think it's so close to being a booyah.
It's a very high fanboy.
I'll give it a booyah. I'll give it a booyah. I think it earns it. Nitpicks aside, so.
Yeah, I definitely have nitpicks, but I think there's just so much enjoyment for me.
Man, if we don't have nitpicks, are we really fanboys?
Yeah, right.
It's a good point. That is a good point.
So yeah, let's dive into some spoilers. What Tyler, what do you think about that final episode? How similar was it to the comic?
So that's what I wanted to talk about, and like I guess mild spoilers for the comics too. First thing, the robot thing, as far as I've read, that has not happened. Also, the Amber storyline is quite different in the comic. It's got some similarities, but it's quite different. But the final episode is it's almost shot for shot. It's kind of insane. A lot of the big story beats in this show are shot for shot from the comic, and it's remarkable. I mean, even to the point of the White Room. It's in the comic. Same
with the
story.
Lights,
Yep. Same exact lines in the comic book. The Pour Me a Glass line from Debbie is the same. I will say what they do differently in the show, and they do this on a lot of occasions, is they kind of they add to the fights, right? So like the fight with Mark and Nolan is and I hardly call it a fight.
it's,
The
it's an
beatdown
ass whooping.
that takes place, yeah. You know, the whole train thing is new. It does end on a mountainside like that. I mean, it's very very similar. Um, the lines that are spoken between Nolan and Mark are verbatim from the comic book. And I kept kind of like I tried really hard to not be like, oh guys, this is gonna be, but like after like 5 or 6 episodes, I was like, holy crap, the big moments, they're going word for word, shot for shot.
Mm.
So this is going to be this. And so I didn't want to overhype it because I think the finale and the final confrontation between Mark and Nolan is fantastic. And I think, you know, the realization for Nolan that, you know, I'm not the only Viltrumite here. Like he kind of forgets that. Like he really thinks he's the only one until Mark kind of is like, "Hey dude, I'm about to die, but I love you, dad."
Yeah.
And like that's just crazy, man. That's like could I just that to me like that's such a good pull of the heartstring.
Yep.
Like I just think it was so well done. Like he trains this kid. He, you know, we get the flashback right before the big scene when he leaves. Like they just set it up and they tee it up perfectly, in my opinion. And reading the comic book, I thought I would kind of be disappointed by the show, like not maybe leaning into some of those emotional parts, but they did a really good job of like to me the comic book adds to the show, and I think that's really cool.
Nice. Luke, what are your thoughts on the final episode?
Geez Louise, I want to know what the animators when they're animating that, if they were just like, oh man, is this too gross?
This is too much.
Like the subway bit.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, it was so
Was
funny.
rough
Stephanie
to
walked
watch.
down during that scene and she was just like, "That's his dad, right?"
That's why I'm giving it a fanboy worthy.
Mm.
It's so violent. I just can't. Is the quality booyah? Yeah, but I cannot in good faith recommend this to everybody because it's just so violent. I remember in one of our episodes on What the Fanboy, our normal podcast episode, which you can check out live on Twitch on Monday nights at 8 p.m.
Plug.
I remember saying this is a good counter for the boys because it isn't as violent. Well, it's more violent. It's actually I'm more disturbed watching this than I am the boys when they drive a boat through the whale and Homelander's lasering a crowd of people, and I I think it's really cool that they were even able to go that far. And yeah, Tyler, you pretty much nailed it right on the head. The last conversation that they have on the mountain where he's just beating them to a pulp. And he's just like, I love you, Dad.
Yeah.
And he's about to throw that one punch, and it gives us the flashback of like the baseball game and training them and all that stuff. And he just flies off, and it's just like he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I love a villain that has conflict in him, and I think that's really good. I mean, he's probably going to come back and start, melting the world again, but that conflict will always be there, and I think they set that up super well. One query I have going forward, and I don't want to like jump too far ahead, but I hope, and Tyler, you can let me know if they do this in the comic at all. His father just used him as a weapon to kill thousands of people. I hope they show that trauma. I hope he's just not like, I'm gonna finish high school. No, you like thousands of people. He was holding you, and thousands of people hit your body and exploded. That needs to have an effect on you, and I hope they do that. Do they do that in the comic?
A
at
little
all?
bit. And that's kind of the hard thing I think with a show like with the show medium is like we just need Mark to get back to being a superhero in the show. In the comic, he really wrestles with, and they kind of allude to it in the show where he's like, I don't know if I want to do this. And in the comic, like there's a time, like there's a lot more time that passes, and he's like, I don't think I want to do this. Like I need to be here for my mom. You know, these people saw me fight. My identity may be lost. Like they now know my dad is Omni-Man. Like, will people view me the same way? Like they do it a little bit differently, but they do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think the show will spend a lot of time with it, just because the show needs to keep moving because it's 8
Yeah, and I
episodes.
wouldn't expect that either, but I hope they at least make an effort to kind of put that in there.
I think he'll deal with some emotional struggles to be a superhero again. Yes.
Well, he's
Mhm.
got Amber to talk to.
Because like one of the things they do is like he has a really hard time after, like he just can't, like he feels like he can't win fights. He's weak, like because he's just not in it. You know,
Yeah.
he's like,
And-
dude, I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah, and I think it'll help now too that Amber knows Mark. What's his friend's name?
Matt.
Mitch.
Matt?
Matt. Tyler.
It's
Is it
William.
Tyler?
William.
Yeah, and then also Eve knows too.
Mhm.
So he has people to just kind of go vent to about how his dad is biggest serial killer on the planet now.
Yeah, and I think, even to further that question, Luke, I think they even kind of address it when they're sitting at Burger Mark.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
And
want
he's
more
like,
of that.
can
I love
can
that.
we not talk about it? Like
Yeah.
because he literally is like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, and honestly, like in that moment where he's like, I don't want to talk about it, by them like not addressing it, I felt like they were kind of
Mhm.
addressing it, and I want more stuff like that. And then I mean, he gets the call and flies off.
Yeah, that scene was a little short for me, but I understand they're wrapping up the season, so it gets a certain level of pass.
I'll say that story gets told through Debbie.
Okay, that makes sense. I
Yeah.
do hope we get more Debbie. I feel like one of the things
We will get a lot more.
One of the things that this first season lacks is a lot of female perspective, and I think Sandra Oh is fantastic, obviously, and what she's given in this, she does a really good job of. Detective Debbie, and also like I'm hearing my Superman husband say that he doesn't love me, and
Yep.
Between the animators and the voice acting, solid stuff. So I'm
Yep.
really excited to
And-
see more of that.
I'm
Yep.
kind of on your female perspective thing. I kind of wish we had gotten a little more of Eve this season. I hope
Where
we get
was she?
more of her.
Where was
too.
she this episode?
She was with the Guardians in the bunker, and then
Yeah.
helping people at the
Oh,
end.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Her powers are insane.
Yeah.
They
She's
just need to
basically
always team up.
Firestorm.
Just always team up.
She's basically Firestorm, just with way more control.
She can just do it herself. Yeah, I love her abilities. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Were there any other threads? You kind of mentioned the robot thread. Maybe fell a little short. I didn't mind it, although I thought it was going somewhere else, I guess.
I thought he was going to be a villain.
Yeah. There was some
And then
ominous.
he was just.
I want to be a kid.
He was a little. He was silly putty in a.
It was kind of creepy too that
Yeah.
they also kind of gloss over that, where it's like, here's this individual, we don't know how old they are, transfer their consciousness into a young boy's body so they could be with a young girl who's actually a woman because she de-ages when she gets
Using
using
her
her powers.
powers,
It's
yeah.
complicated. I
Confusing.
get it. Also kind of creepy. I don't know.
Yes.
I agree. It is creepy, and it's weird. Like that's one of the storylines that's like really accelerated. Because like that is not a thing where I'm at in the comic. So that was like a huge surprise to me too. I was like, oh, this is this is a lot. Like, there's a lot to unpack here. This is weird. Um, yeah, I would agree. The robot story was a little, I don't know, not. I wouldn't say it's a strong part of the show.
I'm glad it didn't take too much of my time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the show as a whole does a good job of not wasting your time with those little like through line stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this is a weird show to spoil, like, because I just really want to talk about what do we think's gonna happen next, like, because we get confirmation for season 2 and 3, and
Gonna set up his own team, man. Battle Beast is joining.
Oh,
Mahershala's joining.
gosh, yeah, we got.
That's what I think. Is that what happened? They showed all the people throughout, all the people he's met. I think that's his team. He's gonna make his own team.
I think he's
Take
gonna have
Dad
to
down.
deal with them.
I would say I think they are his
yeah.
trial, right?
Yeah,
They're his.
He has to beat Battle Beast as a boss to unlock him as a character.
Also,
Beast
there's a
looks
few there's a few lines from Alan the Alien, and I don't want to say too much in terms of like what's gonna happen, but there's a few lines from Alan the Alien that you might chew on a little bit. Alan talks about like a Viltrumite's never left his post,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and they never give up, so they're gonna target Earth.
Yeah.
So
I fully expect a
writings on
Viltrumite.
Viltrum is coming.
Yeah, invasion at some point.
Viltrum is coming, and they're looking to, one, take over Earth
Or destroy it.
and two, someone's going to pay for the Viltrumite leaving his post.
Oh.
So
$20.
so Mark has a decision to make. Is he going to protect Earth, or is he going to protect Dad? And that's the question Mark will struggle with in season 2. And I think it's gonna be good. I'm not at the end of that story in the comics, but I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan, I love that Alan the Alien accidentally came to Earth because he was supposed to go to Urath. Like, that is like one of the funniest things in the comic book. Like, it's just so goofy, man. It's like, yeah, I came to the wrong place. If I'd have known there was a Viltrumite here, there's no way I'd have came to this place. Like, and so he kind of talks about the what is it called, the Coalition of Planets.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in
Excited
his
to meet
organization. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I really look forward to seeing them and kind of learning more about them, because I really don't know a whole lot about them as is, other than what Alan has said. The scenes with Alan are straight off the page, so it's really fun. I think Seth Rogen, I guess, will be a much larger part of season 2, which that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. This is like, the story setup for this is just so great.
I really, really want more Battle Beast. I loved Battle Beast in episode 6. He was so cool.
Yeah, dude, I remember when we saw him in the promo, we're like, this guy kind of looks weird, and then he's
this big purple cat. Oh,
this comes in and wreck shop
everybody.
Oh my god!
I just remember. Do you guys remember seeing on Twitter how excited everybody was about Battle Beast? And we were like, he looks fine, I guess. And then he showed up. And
look at us noobs.
I know, right? We were like, who is this guy? Man. Yeah, man, such a good show. So many good, like, I think one of the best parts about this show as a whole this season was just like, I never felt like any episode was really like a floundering episode. I always felt like every episode had something in it that really pushed the story forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really easy for shows to kind of lose track of that in the middle.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think for me, the only one that I think could have been done better in terms of a main storyline of an episode is actually the penultimate. It's the college visit one.
Oh, that's 6, I
Oh,
think.
6. Yeah, oh,
The one
6.
before the
Yes,
penultimate.
yes.
Yeah.
And that could just, it felt like
Or 5, maybe.
they're doing the whole relationship
Doesn't
thing,
matter.
which with him and Amber was just going in circles, and then William and the love
Yeah.
interest there, and it just didn't work for me. But that said, it did do some good stuff uh, with Mark's character and Eve's character also. That was an episode where we got a little more Eve, I think. That's when she
Yeah,
was
'cause that
like
was the
yeeting out of
yeah.
I'm gonna go build my tree
I wa-
house.
Dude, that treehouse is
It is a
sweet.
cool tree house.
I want
I
to
would
live in a
love,
treehouse.
like when she's sitting in it and it's raining. I'm like, man, you know how peaceful that would be. Like that would be awesome. Not important. I wanted to ask the question: was there one character outside of the main cast that you really, really enjoyed that you didn't expect to enjoy? For me, it's Cecil.
Yeah,
Cecil's really good. I wasn't sure if I was gonna throw him in the main cast or not, but he's
I mean, he's a main cast member, but he's like not Mark and Amber and Adam and
sure.
Eve.
Okay.
Like he's kind of like the one of the side characters. I really liked him. Walton Goggins did a great job.
He's killing it, man. Agreed.
he's
He
good.
he did a really, really good job. I liked him a lot.
The other one I really liked was Mahershala Ali
Titan.
as Titan. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to more of him in season 2. I do wonder if they'll recast his voice.
I hope not.
I hope not as well.
Bezos has
but
the
he's
money.
probably
It's fine.
That's true. Amazon's not worried about funds. They got Disney money.
Oh man. So I mentioned a storyline that just kind of gets dropped halfway through the season, and that's the one with Damien Darkblood. I really liked Damien Darkblood and what they were doing with him. And they give what he's doing essentially to Debbie for the second half of the season. So I'm glad Debbie gets to do something, but I liked Damien and that kind of weird. It was like here's one character let's have a Hellboy crossover with.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's almost like a supernatural part of the show.
Yeah. So I'll go
Yeah,
with I'll go with Damien.
I really liked that bit of the story too. Plus, Clancy Brown is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
I wasn't sure what part you were talking about. I guess because mainly I kind of differ. I thought they did kind of finish it by just passing it on to Debbie.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll always take more Dark Blood. So if they want to bring it back.
Yeah. I don't know what I wonder what they would do with bringing him back, like where he would fit in the story moving forward. Maybe they fight something supernatural. I don't know, but I'd be down for it.
He does seem
Luke
like
said,
kind of a one-off, probably. But
yeah, he's hilarious in the comic because like he shows up and he's like, Omni-Man killed the Guardians, and they're like, yeah, dude, we figured that out like 6 days ago. Like we're trying to figure out how to stop him now, and he's like, "Oh, okay, well I'm gonna leave," and he just like turns around and walks out, and that's it. Like he's not in the comic after that, at least to the point I'm at. So like I'm glad he was a character because he's a super cool character. Yeah. I think obviously he's probably a bigger part of the comics, or else I don't imagine they would have included him. So I'm excited.
Yep.
But
on a similar. Flipping that question on its head, is there a character that you felt like maybe was underused or you weren't thrilled with their storyline? Maybe not even just performance, but just what, like I could have done more with them, or I actually wish they would have cut them from the show.
I don't wish
cut them.
I'm providing a scale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think. Here's the problem that my character is Rex Splode.
Sure.
Here's the issue. One, Jason Mantzoukas' voice is way too recognizable. I like the dude. I think he's hilarious. But like Rexplode, they kind of hint at it with Robot making the, the young version of Rexplode hid the body he wanted.
Hmm.
Because Rexplode has like a really dramatic backstory, and there's a reason he acts the way he does. Like, there's a reason he's kind of like he's deflecting at all times.
Hmm.
Like, he's an emotionally broken character, and they just never really go there. You know what I mean? Like, I would have liked to seen his backstory a little more fleshed out, because you kind of get Adam Eves, like you kind of get a little bit of that. You don't really learn anything about anybody else.
Yeah.
And like Rexplodes, to me, like his backstory is the most interesting. He was a taken from his family as a child and experimented on.
Mm.
Like, his powers aren't gadgets. Like, that's part of him.
Oh, interesting.
And so there's a lot more to his character, and they just never really went there. And so like I just kind of wish they would have done that, because I think people would have liked his character a lot more.
Yeah, I was gonna
Mhm.
say, for me, like his it, his lines almost feel like, oh, we're gonna make him obnoxious because it's Jason, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
Jason's comedy, not this like deflection for story. And based on the fact that we haven't gotten any of that in the show, that actually could be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like they have opportunity to provide more if they really want to. I think they should, because I would agree. I think that his character often rubs me the wrong way, and not in like the, oh, I should not trust this person, or I am meant to see them kind of as an antagonist. Just a dick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would agree. And like I think there's opportunity there. They kind of allude to it when Robot shows up and he gets like really emotional.
Hmm.
And he's like, "Why would you do this? Like, what are you doing? Why me?" Like, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh man, they're gonna go there. We're gonna get it." And then they just kind of let it go. He's like, "Ah, let's drink beer," and you're like, "What?"
Maybe next season they'll kind of go into it more. Maybe they just might not have time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like you could say that about all the new Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah.
Like, Adam Eve gets a little more, but not that much.
Mm.
Yeah.
You understand her a little bit more, but it's really just that conversation with her parents at her house, and then that's kind of
Yeah.
it. But
Mhm.
like Monster Girl, the side effects of her powers, we're not going to talk about that. Uh, Samson, is it Samson?
Black
Black
Samson.
Samson.
Black Samson. Um, he lost his powers and now he has them back. Okay, don't even know what his powers are.
I would agree
Duplicate,
with that.
don't know anything about her. Person that shrinks, don't know anything about her.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of stuff there that, like, they're just people on a team, and I think they could all use a flesh out scene.
Yeah. There's a lot of different teams too that hopefully we get to see later, because they all like hate each other.
Nice. Yeah, they've mentioned a
really
couple,
funny.
haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah, because there was the the teen team, the Guardians of the Globe, and then I think the other one's called like it's the FF, like the Freedom Fighters or something. But like everybody makes fun of them. Like, these guys are losers. Like, they couldn't hang with us. It's a funny bit that they kind of run around with. But no, yeah, I agree, Luke. Like, Black Samson, I don't know anything about
And
him.
we
Like,
got
there's
more backstory for Titan, and he's in 2 episodes than we did for,
Right?
yeah,
heck, even.
but no, he's like, I got my powers back. It's like, what are your powers? Are you just
I
strong?
guess.
Like, what? You don't need your mech suit anymore
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Yeah, because like that's a whole thing, is like the suit storyline, and that just like it doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
Mine would probably be Amber, and I think it's just because she's a more important character. I expect more story from her. And we do get a little more backstory, and obviously she has just way more screen time. But the fact that the end of each episode feels like a sitcom when it comes to her and Mark's relationship, which is, oh, I don't really trust him. Oh, like I'm kind of annoyed. Oh, I'm gonna forgive him. We're gonna work through it up until like the last episode. I guess the
Yep.
the last 2 episodes, because after the college one is where they're like, okay, we're not gonna do this. But then in
She
the final episode, it's
yeah.
like, okay, we're gonna do this again. And I think
Yeah.
that's
She
what
feels
annoyed
like
me.
a cliche plot
She's one of the most cliche
device.
parts of the show, and I think when you have someone
Yeah.
like Zazie Beetz, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
I think the Zazie Beetz casting lends to, I think Luke maybe said it to us one time, kind of theorizing her character's arc in the future.
Mm.
It's gonna be a villain.
Yeah, I honestly do not know where her character's headed. From what I've read, I really don't know. So, I tend to agree with Luke there. I think you don't cast Zazie Beetz to be the cliche girlfriend
Yeah.
character. There's
Mhm.
got to be something else there.
Agreed. Any other notes? I think we talked a little bit earlier. Like we all really like the animation style. I thought the score was great.
Yeah. I love the animation because it's so simple.
Yeah.
Like I
And
even
it's
watched a
clean.
breakdown of the animation, and it was with Red Rush when he's moving fast, and it's literally just a red bar. There's nothing to it.
Yeah.
But it looks really good to me, and I think that it looks really good when it's in motion. It's not convoluted and then just filled with like weird lines, or you know where everything is. You can tell everything apart. It's colorful.
Easy to follow. You're right.
But then, yeah, it's not. It doesn't look like it's as difficult to make either, so they can put out seasons quickly. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
want
kind
it
of half
now.
hoping. I was kind of half hoping they would announce a season 2 like for later this year. But we'll see. I mean,
I guess we could talk about that. Seasons 2 and 3 have been greenlit by
yeah.
video, so that's awesome.
It's a huge win, man.
It's always awesome when it's like, oh yeah, the next season's confirmed, and the next season.
Yeah.
So like, nothing to worry about for the next 2 years for Invincible.
Tyler, I think in a private conversation we had, did you say that the showrunners had kind of like an 8-season arc in mind?
Yeah, like 6 to 8 seasons
Okay.
is kind of their thinking. Because they want to do about 20 to 25 issues a season.
Okay.
Which is about where this one lines up. Sorry for the plosive there. It's about where they lined up. So if they stay on that track, I think 6 to 8 is probably where they'll land.
Okay.
Unless they really just accelerate seasons 2 and 3 in the story arc. But man, some of the stuff this comic book does is just so crazy. It goes in places I just can't imagine. Like when I started reading it, when we started watching this show, I was like, okay, it's young superhero coming of age story. I did not think after starting the comic book, I was like, oh, this is like Justice League level event type stuff. Like we're about to get crazy. It's gonna be so much fun, man. I'm really excited.
Agreed. Yep. I think the future is bright for Invincible.
Yep.
Very excited to see it go. And
Super bloody title card this week.
oh yeah.
Man. It was like blood splatter. Like they just covered it.
We're gonna get a nice new clean title for season 2 start. Are they gonna go? They'll go with a different thing, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll change the title card when he gets a new suit.
Ooh, a new suit.
Yeah.
You're teasing us there, Tyler. But that's cool.
There's some I want to tease another thing, but I won't. I'll tease it when we're not recording.
Okay.
I just want Beast and him to team up. That's all.
Oh, no, that's dope.
I want Battle Beast spin-off show.
Dude, yes, let's do it.
Guy.
Let's.
He's
do
got
it.
to have the best adventures.
There is, yeah, because he just goes around to different dimensions.
Yeah, he's just
I'm
like
gonna
a
kill these
bounty hunter,
fools.
right? Like, except not even bounties. He's just. I hear there's good
you know what-
fighters.
You know what character he is? He's Goku,
All right.
Except a cat.
except he's a cat. Yeah,
I do.
because that's what Goku wants to do. He just wants to fight the best people from every different dimension, and that's what Battle Beast does, man. He's like, man, I hear there's good champs here. Let's go kill them all. Like, that's Goku. He just doesn't want to kill people. He just wants to beat them up real bad, which is, kind of sick and twisted in its own special way. But
And then the
Whatever.
fight's too easy, so he just pieces out. He's like, "This is boring, man." See ya. Teleports away.
that is one of the dopest sign-offs of a character ever. When Battle Beast was like, man, this ain't worth my time. And just like beast out. I just smacked this dude in the chest with a mace. I'm leaving. This is stupid. Man, that's so cool. Give me more Invincible.
Indeed.
Good show.
We'll
Great
get
show.
it. We'll get it at
Fantastic
some
show.
point. So, yeah, I know we're all here for season 2. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of TV Talk. Thanks for watching. Like Luke plugged earlier, you can check out our live recording of our podcast Monday nights, 8 p.m. time, over on Twitch, twitch.tv/whatthefanboy. Or if like Monday nights are busy for you, you can just listen to that entire show on the podcast. Just search for What the Fanboy on your podcast app, and we'll be there whenever you're ready to listen.
Yeah. Let's go.
So until next time, I don't know what our next TV talk is going to be, but we'll be back at some point with another one of these. So until then, we'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Yeah.